Yes, we are backstage getting ready for the Quiet Storm live tonight. Just checked with the box office. You still can get tickets. Show starts at 7:30. A lot of acts tonight, so you have really a ton of time to come down here and enjoy the show. Ladies and gentlemen, he is one of R&B's biggest superstars, one of music's biggest superstars. 11 albums, TV, Broadway, 16 Grammy nominations. You sing along to Back at One whenever it comes on. Anytime, shoulda, woulda, coulda, love is. The list goes on and on. Can we make some noise for Brian McNight?
I'm a little upset. You shorted me. You shorted me.
Are we at 17?
I think in the stores now, with all the records that Universal puts out, that for some of the songs of mine that they own, they're actually 17, but only 14 that I've actually recorded.
Wow, okay. Yeah. 17 it is.
Yeah.
All right.
You call it tomato, I call it tomato. Now, that'd be a number thing. Just to continue. I'm sorry.
You just put on a private performance for 92 dedicated, loyal, huge, not only listeners, but we picked the biggest Brian McKnight fans.
Wow.
How was it? Because most people didn't get to go to this one, the early one.
It was very cool. I end up doing a little mini concert at every sound check because that's when I warm up anyway. So it was fun to do that. Sometimes there's been times during the tour I did this year where I brought in kids who were interested in getting into the business, so they got to see sound check and got to ask questions. I've done it before, but it's always great, man. I'm still living a dream. I really am. The fact that who knows what your career is where it's gonna take you if you have one hit, let alone as many as I've been fortunate enough to have, and that people will still, after I've been doing this now 22 years, want to come out and see me. It's mind-boggling. I love it. I really do.
At the rate you're going, it's not going to stop. I assure you this. You went from singing in your church choir as a kid, and I have to ask you this. You led your high school's band. I think I went to 3 or 4 high schools in my life. Kind of bounced around a little bit. Every band leader was kind of a nerd.
I don't know what you're reading. I didn't lead anybody's band.
It said you led your band in high school, and you have to admit that if that's the truth.
It's not the truth.
It is not the truth.
Not the truth.
You did sing gospel, though.
I did.
Tell me about that.
That was awesome because it's my family. My grandfather was the minister of music, and my aunts and uncles were in the choir. When I was tall enough to wear a robe, you were in the choir. There was no ifs, ands, or buts. I hated it. I hated it because it was forced on me by my mother and by the other people in our family. So I was an athlete. So if I had a game, but we had to sing somewhere, I'd either have to play till halftime and leave or show up at halftime, get weighed in like during Pee Wee football or something. So some of that was really bad. I learned to play piano being taken around to every church in town with my mother because she had an extra job playing at 10 different churches in town. So once she knew I could halfway play, she was like, "You're coming with me." But I'm so thankful for it now because I can play anything and I can go back and forth through all different kinds of styles. But at the time, my friends at school didn't know I could sing. They didn't know I could play because you would get beat up. If you were, there's choir boy, get him.
Run.
So there was none of that. If you went to church with me, which thankfully we lived far away from the church we went to, none of those kids knew.
This is Kevin Slow Jam James. He's not only hosting the concert tonight, but he hosts a radio show called The Quiet Storm. He was one of the first. Kevin wanted to say hello and ask you a couple of questions.
Brian.
Yes.
How you doing?
I'm good. There's that voice.
So,
you know why I don't do radio anymore? Because I don't have that voice.
Do you still dunk?
I can, but not like I did back in the day.
Because back the beat days, because we played in a couple games together.
Yes, indeed. We had some fun. We beat up on the New Edition crew there.
Oh, I forgot about that game, yeah.
Well, it's because those guys, they always, want to say that it didn't happen that way, but we know.
Oh, we know. But he's got game. I'm telling you that.
Back in the day. Now it's golf game.
But you still play ball, don't you?
I mean, I do, but not like I did. It's all fine and good while you're playing, but it's like the Monday morning quarterback. You wake up that next morning and it's like, why did I play?
Jagger and Christy work in the morning.
Right.
And Christy said, I wish I could have asked him a question. So now I can ask you.
Okay.
Has there been a song that you recorded, then you just kind of like sat on the table and just go, I don't know. Then maybe years later, I have the same tone.
You know why I have that tone? Because if I'm asleep and I need to get a message, this is the loudest one there is.
How do you know it's not a car coming through honking at you?
So I thought you know.
Nah, it would be the clown car. And I'm afraid of clowns. That's
You'll never fit in it. But has there been a song that you kind of set aside, maybe because you liked it so much you wanted the right time to put it out, or maybe because, I don't know, and just kind of let it there and marinate, so to speak, and then bring it out?
I've been very fortunate from the beginning of my career to have real autonomous control of the records that I create. I cannot remember a time when there was an A&R guy in the studio with me looking over my shoulder saying, they kind of like, here's the budget for the album. You need to have it in by X. I'm the only artist probably who's ever always come in under budget. I present a record when I feel like it's what it needs to be, and I've never gone back to old songs. If it didn't make that record, why should it be good enough for this one? And I've sort of stuck by that.
Nice.
Thank you, Mr. James. We're going to get ready for the show. A couple of last questions. Then we're going to play a quick game for some fun and prizes here. We have something in common, Mr. McNight. Besides our extremely good looks, there's another thing we have in common. Can you guess what that is?
Our fashion flair.
Okay,
No.
Maybe that's it. Well, we talked about it earlier. You've done some radio,
Right. Yes.
I listen to you every morning in Los Angeles, and I have a question for you. So you did morning radio in Los Angeles.
Right.
It's a great show. You and Pat. Every time a Sade song played, do you know what you would talk about at the end of the Sade song?
Yeah, like everybody else who's in my age group, who heard Smooth Operator for the first time in 10th grade, it was one of the very first real crushes that we had on someone who was, on television or on videos. There was something mysterious. I mean, obviously she's a beautiful woman and always has been. Even now in her 50s, she's beautiful. But there was something else about her, maybe that she was foreign with this accent, and just, you just always envision like Casablanca, the smoky room, and Sade's in there singing, and she's looking at you, and somehow you end up in her room that night, playing Where's the Rubber Ducky? So, it's always your first. You remember the first one, and she, for me, was the very first one.
Well, the question I was going to ask part two is, does she know that?
I don't know. I think the question would be, does she care? Because I'm sure I'm not the only guy who feels that way.
Hey, but
I think here's the other side. I think that when it comes to that, you don't necessarily want to meet your first crush or meet your hero, because hopefully, if you always keep them up on a pedestal, they can't ever knock themselves down.
true.
For me,
have you not met her though?
I've never
really?
met her. I've
Wow.
never been in her
Okay.
presence, but there've been other people that I held up there that I've met that was kind of like, yeah, they were kind of a jerk. But you know what though? I'm sure somebody said that about me. Who you never know what you're dealing with at that time. You may be hungry. You may have to go to the bathroom. You may have something, and you see that person at that moment, and you're like, wow, he didn't stop and take a second to speak to me because I'm so great. So when you're on the other side of that, you understand, and I understand.
Wow. All right. I'm look. Okay. Hey, Joe, can you put 30 seconds on the clock? We're playing 5 questions with Brian McKnight. You got to get 3 out of 5 correct.
Okay.
Starting with question number 1, capital of Vermont.
From Mount Peeler?
Correct. Yes. Question number 2, best old school slow jam of all time.
Always and Forever.
Incorrect. Between the Sheets, Isley Brothers. We're looking
I don't
for.
know about that one.
Number 3, name the 3 flavors in Neapolitan ice cream.
Chocolate, vanilla, and strawberry.
There you go. Finish this lyric. Still have your picture in a frame. Hear your footsteps down the hall.
I swear I hear your voice driving me insane. How I wish that you would call.
That's it. Number 5, finally, Brian, do I ever cross your mind at any time?
That's the most asked question I ever get, period. The answer is no.
Ladies and gentlemen, Brian McKnight, thanks for coming by and thanks for spending some time with Magic
Thank you, man.
92.5.
No problem. That was fun.